Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next hour. Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba announces resignation amid party calls to take responsibility for bruising past election defeats. Russia hits Ukraine with biggest air attack of the war, sets government building ablaze. Ukraine's Zelensky speaks with the French President Macron after the Russian airstrike. Israel warns recognizing Palestinian state could trigger unilateral action, while UK police arrest almost 900 people supporting the banned group Palestine Action in London. And 8 OPEC Plus members agree to boost oil production from October to gain a bigger market share of crude sales. Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba resigned after less than a year in power, during which he lost his majority in both houses of parliament. The lower house elections in October 2024 saw the Liberal Democratic Party suffer its worst result in 15 years. Taking responsibility for the defeat, Ishiba stepped down to avoid a split within the ruling LDP. The hunt for LDP's successor and Japan's next Prime Minister now begins. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba resigned on Sunday, ushering in a potentially lengthy period of policy paralysis at a shaky moment for the world's fourth largest economy. Ishiba asked his Liberal Democratic Party, which has governed Japan for almost all of the post-war era, to hold an emergency leadership race, adding he would continue his duties until his successor was elected.
I have decided to resign as the Liberal Democratic Party president. Now that negotiations concerning the US tariff measures have reached a turning point, I thought this was the appropriate time to step aside and make way for the next Prime Minister.
Since coming to power less than a year ago, Ishiba has overseen his ruling coalition lose its majorities in elections for both houses of parliament amid voter anger over rising living costs. Reacting on Ishiba's resignation, some Tokyo residents expressed shock, while some said this would bring political uncertainty.
Shock ですね。
With all the turmoil around tariffs right now, I hope the next Prime Minister will be someone who can properly manage the tariff issues and handle diplomacy more effectively.
Personally, I don't really have anything against Ishiba, and I don't think the issue this time is really his fault. It's more that we, the people, are saying no to the Liberal Democratic Party. So I really feel that it is wrong for Ishiba to take responsibility for that.
Things will be the same no matter who becomes Prime Minister. I think it'll be interesting if they try and elect someone from a different party.
With Shigeru Ishiba's resignation, attention turns to who will next steer the world's fourth largest economy. The process to pick Japan's next leader is more complicated than before, as Ishiba's Liberal Democratic Party and its junior coalition partner lost their majorities in both houses of parliament during his tenure. First, the LDP must pick a new president to replace Ishiba. Candidates will then embark on a period of debates and campaigns across Japan, culminating in a vote by lawmakers and rank-and-file party members. While a fresh leadership race could add pain for an economy hit by US tariffs, markets are focusing more on the chance of Ishiba being replaced by an advocate of looser fiscal and monetary policy. Among the probable contenders are LDP veteran Sanai Takaichi. Takaichi criticized the Bank of Japan's interest rate hikes and was a close second in last year's LDP leadership runoff. The telegenic political scion Shinjiro Koizumi, who gained prominence as Ishiba's farm minister, was tasked with trying to cap soaring prices, is another contender. Since the LDP does not have a majority in either house, it is not guaranteed that the next LDP president will become prime minister. Whoever becomes the next leader may choose to call a snap election to seek the national mandate. There is a slim possibility that an opposition party leader takes the helm as Japan's opposition remains fractured. But the far-right anti-immigration Sansieto party made big gains in July's upper house election, bringing the once fringe ideas into the political mainstream, a trend increasingly also being seen in Europe. Tanvi Taneja for DD India. On to the Russia-Ukraine war now. Russia hit Ukraine with the biggest air attack of the war, setting the government building ablaze. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky spoke to French President Emmanuel Macron after the Russian airstrike. Here's more.
Russia has fired its biggest ever aerial barrage at Ukraine early on Sunday, claiming 4 lives and setting the seat of Ukrainian government in Kiev ablaze in an attack President Volodymyr Zelensky warned would prolong the war. The Sunday attack was the first to hit Ukraine's cabinet of ministers, a sprawling government complex at the heart of Kiev. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said in a social media X post on Sunday that he spoke with French President Emmanuel Macron after Russia's biggest wartime airstrike on Ukraine, adding that they coordinated their diplomatic efforts, next steps, and contacts with partners to ensure an appropriate response. French President Emmanuel Macron on social media post on X condemned the attack and said Russia is locking itself ever deeper into the logic of war and terror. France stood by Ukraine, he said. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen also slammed the attack. Drone strikes also damaged several high-rise buildings in Kiev, according to emergency services. Several floors of a 9-story residential building were partially destroyed. Falling drone debris set off fire in a 16-story apartment building and 2 more 9-story buildings. Meanwhile, Russia, which denied targeting civilians in Ukraine, said it had struck a plant and a logistics hub in Kiev. Its defense ministry said no strikes were carried out on other targets within the boundaries of Kiev, explicitly denying responsibility for the government building strike. Police cordoned off the area surrounding the building, the roof and upper floors of which sustained damage. Meanwhile, Kiev residents expressed concern over the Russian attack on a government quarter.
Every new attack gets even more outrageous than the previous ones. And the fact that the debris of an intercepted Shahid drone or even a drone itself hit the government quarter is another proof that Russia does not plan to stop it. It scares me.
Meanwhile, Ukraine attacked the Druzhba oil pipeline in Russia's Bryansk region, inflicting comprehensive fire damage. There was no immediate comment from Russia. Kiev said its strikes on Russian energy targets in response to Moscow's continued attacks on Ukraine aim to undermine the adversary's overall war effort. Russia claimed to have destroyed multiple Ukrainian drones on Sunday, while the Russian military-controlled Zaporizhia nuclear power plant in southeastern Ukraine reported attacks from the Ukrainian army. Meanwhile, the Russian air defense systems destroyed and intercepted Ukrainian drones early on Sunday. The Russia-Ukraine conflict appears to be far from over, and escalation on both sides is a cause of worry for the world. Talks for ending the conflict appear dim for now, but the future will determine how the conflict is resolved in the days to come. Bureau Report, DD India.
Tensions are running high across the United States as protests break out in multiple cities over President Donald Trump's controversial decision to deploy federal troops and intensify immigration crackdowns. The administration is framing the moves as a fight against crime, but opponents warn it's a dangerous step towards militarizing American cities.
Donald Trump, you racist cow!
In Chicago,
Thousands marched through the city's downtown on Saturday. The demonstrations came just after Trump vowed to send National Guard troops to fight crime in America's third largest city, an extraordinary step that critics warn could spark a legal showdown with local officials.
Sending the National Guard and sending ICE agents here to our community is a direct threat to not only us, but our community. It is us, it is our neighbors, it is our friends, it affects everyone. Businesses have been dropping, restaurants have been dropping, people have been scared.
The anger was equally visible in the nation's capital, Washington, where several thousand rallied to demand an end to the National Guard presence. Chants against Trump echoed through the streets as demonstrators carried placards condemning what they called federal overreach.
Today is Free DC. We're opposing the authoritarian regime, and we need to get the federal police and the National Guard off our streets.
At the same time, the administration has launched a fresh deportation drive in Massachusetts. Dubbed Operation Patriot 2.0, the campaign is led by Homeland Security and ICE, building on an earlier surge in May that resulted in 1,500 arrests of undocumented immigrants. Earlier on Friday, President Trump confirmed he has identified another American city for troop deployment, but declined to reveal which one.
Yeah, I have. I have. I'm not going to say it now, but yeah, I have. We're going to go into another place and straighten it out.
With protests swelling, immigration crackdowns intensifying, and the threat of more troop deployments looming, America faces a summer of heightened confrontation between the White House and its own cities. Bureau Report, TT India.
Meanwhile, South Korea wrapped up talks with the United States for the release of detained Korean workers in Georgia. Presidential Chief of Staff said that a plane will be on its way to bring back the Koreans once administrative procedures are completed. This week, U.S. federal agents carried out a raid at a Hyundai motor manufacturing facility in Georgia. This raid was the largest single-site enforcement operation in the history of the Department of Homeland Security. In this operation, over 300 South Koreans were among the 475 people arrested. President Chief of Staff added that the government will seek ways to improve the visa system to prevent a similar incident in the future.
As a result of swift and united efforts by government ministries, business groups and companies, talks with the United States for the release of the detained workers have been concluded. But what remains now are only administrative procedures, and once those are completed, a chartered plane will depart to bring our people home. To prevent a similar incident in the future, we will work with the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy and related companies to review and improve the residency status and visa system for travelers on US-related projects.
You're watching the India Newshour, still to come on the show. French Parliament is set for a crucial confidence vote on Monday following strong criticism of its Prime Minister. Norwegians vote in the first round of a tight parliamentary election. And Italian teen Carlo Acutis made the first millennial Catholic saint at a youthful Vatican event.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Bye.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I am Tanvi Taneja. On to West Asia now. Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar said on Sunday that the conflict in Gaza could end if hostages were released and Hamas laid down its weapons. His statements during a press conference with his Danish counterpart Lars Løkke Rasmussen in Jerusalem comes a day after Hamas reiterated its long-standing position that it would free all hostages if Israel agreed to an end to the conflict and withdrew its forces from Gaza City.
The war in Gaza can end tomorrow morning if, with only two simple things. The return of our hostages. We still have 48 hostages that were kidnapped from their homes on October 7th in Gaza Strip. And with Hamas laying down its arms. And I emphasize the second thing because the second thing also guarantees the future of Gaza and the Palestinians, a different future, released from the oppressive and terrorist regime of Hamas. We will be more than happy to reach to this objective with political means, with diplomatic means, instead of military means.
The Israeli foreign minister branded a recent international push to recognize Palestinian statehood a mistake and warned that it could trigger unspecified unilateral response.
As you know, there is also a huge opposition in the Israeli public today for a Palestinian state, which is understood. Today, to establish a Palestinian state will jeopardize our security. This is why we opposed it, and I said it very clearly. But it's legitimate to have a different opinion, like the EU has traditionally. But eventually, this issue should be agreed by the parties themselves.
The Danish foreign minister called for an immediate halt to Israel's offensive in Gaza and a release of all hostages.
It goes without saying that we demand that all Israeli hostages in Gaza are released immediately. And we have said that frequently and from day one, also Israel's right to self-defense. But it doesn't change the fact that we are extremely concerned about the humanitarian disaster in Gaza. And that's why I used the opportunity today to repeat our calls for Israel to stop the military offensive in Gaza, to ensure immediate and unhindered humanitarian assistance. And I also expressed our deep concern by the expansion of settlements in the West Bank. And I reiterated Denmark's offer to help assisting with the treatment of patients from Gaza in East Jerusalem or the West Bank.
Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday said that Israel was deepening its operation in and around the Gaza city, adding that around 100,000 people had left the city so far.
We are destroying terror infrastructures. We are destroying incriminated terror towers. And we have set up another humanitarian area to allow the civilian population in Gaza to leave for a safe place and receive humanitarian aid there. About 100,000 people have left Gaza so far. Hamas is trying to do everything so they won't leave. So they would stay there and act as a human shield for it. If I need to choose between victory over our enemies and negative propaganda against us, I choose victory over our enemies rather than the opposite. I don't want articles when we are defeated by our enemies, but get positive eulogy articles in the world media. I chose victory.
Elsewhere in the UK, nearly 900 people were arrested in London during a protest this weekend in support of the banned group Palestine Action, London's Metropolitan Police said on Sunday. The force said 857 people had been arrested under anti-terror laws for supporting a proscribed group during Saturday's demonstration, with an additional 33 arrested for other offences, including assaults on police officers. Moving on to France now. The French government is set for a crucial confidence vote on Monday following strong criticism of Prime Minister François Bayrout's strict budget cuts and spending plans. The result will decide whether his government survives or falls, with the outcome likely to affect jobs, public services and daily life across the country. Our correspondent Rohini Gosavi reports.
France is heading into an important political moment, and it will affect not only leaders but common people as well. French Prime Minister has put forward a new budget with 44 billion euros cuts in spending. The government saying these cuts are needed because France's debt is too high and must be reduced. But for people, these cuts could make daily life more difficult. If the budget goes ahead, hospitals and schools may get less money, which could affect services. Some transport and building projects might be delayed. Families may receive less support with housing and social benefits. And workers fear there will be less help if they lost their jobs.
I think that's quite a mixed feeling because, we had the same kind of issues last year. So we are quite used to this kind of problems that doesn't get any solutions. But at the same time, it's kind of worrying because we don't know what's going to happen next week. And we feel like, history is repeating and we are not going to find solutions for this issue. So
the current budget in France is very uncertain. We don't know how it will get accepted because the current budget shows a lot of spending coming out from the public pocket. So it will be very, very costly to live in France.
This budget has created anger in the parliament and on the streets. Opposition parties are saying this budget is unfair, and even some members of the ruling side are also not happy with this. All of this has led to confidence vote, which will take place on 8th of September. If the Prime Minister wins the vote, he stays in power and budget will move forward. People will then start feeling the effects of these cuts in their everyday lives. And if he loses the votes, his government will have to resign, and that will create political uncertainty. President Emmanuel Macron would then need to decide whether to bring a new Prime Minister, call a new elections, or try to form a new group of support in parliament.
It will open a new era of uncertainty. So that's a mess, and sometimes it's once again time lost for true discussion and true action. So once again, it's frustrating, I guess, for French people. And yeah.
Both options have problems. If the budget is approved, then daily life may become tougher because of reduced support. If the government falls, France could face weeks or months of confusion without clear leadership. Decision on September 8 will not only decide the Prime Minister's future, but also shape how people across France will live in the months ahead. Next few days are very important for France. Budget decisions could change life of many people. So everyone is watching closely and hoping the choices that makes life easier and secure. This is Rohini Gosavi in Paris for DD India.
Meanwhile, far-right leader Marine Le Pen vowed to bring down the government, declaring that her party will not perpetuate its mandate and powers. Le Pen blamed immigration, fraud and contributions to the European Union for France's bloated budget. France is in a state of democratic asphyxiation to a level we never experienced under the Fifth Republic. And in 8 years, this crisis of representation, this absence of well-founded political legitimacy caused by the parties of the system has only worsened, plunging the entire nation into uncertainty and anxiety. Norwegians went to polls on Sunday for the first of the 2 days of voting in the parliamentary elections. It's a close race between a left-wing bloc led by the incumbent Labour Party and a right-wing bloc headed by the populist Progress Party and the Conservatives. At least 9 political parties are expected to win seats in the parliamentary election, but only the leaders of the 3 major parties are candidates for Prime Minister. Political parties raised several key issues in the election campaign that include the cost of living, taxation and public services, as well as the management of Norway's $2 trillion sovereign wealth fund. Carlo Acutis, an Italian teenager, has become the first Catholic saint of the millennial generation on Sunday in a Vatican ceremony led by Pope Leo. 15-year-old Acutis died in 2006. He learned computer code to build websites to spread his faith. Acutis was dubbed as God's influencer for the same. His story has drawn wide attention from Catholic youth. Pier Giorgio Frassati, an Italian mountaineering enthusiast who died aged 24 in 1925, was also declared a saint. Eight key members of the OPEC Plus alliance agreed on Sunday to boost oil production by 137,000 barrels per day in October. Oil ministers in the V8 grouping, comprising Saudi Arabia, Russia, Iraq, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Kazakhstan, Algeria and Oman, decided to increase production by 137,000 barrels a day from next month. Those countries had already increased production by 2.2 million barrels per day in recent months. In their statement issued after an online meeting on Sunday, the members said that the new incoming cycle could see up to an extra 1.65 million barrels per day eventually coming onto the market. Meanwhile, Russia said it is fully compliant with its OPEC Plus commitments. Next, we take a look at other stories making news around the world. In Spain, 3 people were seriously injured when a French tourist bus veered off the road and overturned in Santa Susana on Sunday. A total of 53 people were on board. Emergency services deployed 8 ambulances and 2 medical helicopters to assist the injured. A helicopter crashed in Minnesota of the United States, killing all on board on Saturday. It went down roughly 8 minutes after taking off. The number of passengers on board are being ascertained. Dozens of hot air balloons filled the skies over the Czech city of Hradec Králové. It was said to be the largest gathering of balloons in the Czech history. It has set a new Czech record as 81 balloons rose to the skies at once above the city. You're with us on DD India Newshour, still to come on the show. An expert take on Japan's deepening political woes with Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's resignation. Relief efforts intensify for India's flood-hit Punjab. IMD issues red alert for Rajasthan and Gujarat. And also on the other side, updates from the Toronto International Film Festival underway in Canada.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
back. You're watching Detained India Newshour. I am Tanvi Taneja. Going back to our top story now, political uncertainty looms now in Japan following Prime Minister Ishiba's resignation. Japan's budget requests for the next fiscal year are set for a record for the third consecutive year, its finance ministry said this week, amid growing market concern that the political wrangling within the ruling LDP may hurt the country's fiscal health. The combined 122.45 trillion yen, equivalent to $831 billion budget requests from government agencies highlight the struggle of streamlining spending for the industrial world's most heavily indebted country. Concern over political uncertainty led to a sell-off in Japan's yen currency and its government bonds last week, with the yield on the 30-year bond hitting a record high on Wednesday. And let's discuss Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's resignation with our guest on the show now. We have with us Ambassador S.R. Tayal, former senior diplomat. Welcome, sir, to the program. It is interesting that the Liberal Democratic Party has governed Japan almost continuously since 1955. What do you think accounts for LDP's dominance in Japan's politics for such a long time?
Actually, Liberal Democratic Party brings together a wide range of opinions in Japan, and it is kind of a coalition, and it has not seen a very strong leader. There are different interest groups which work together. In fact, if we see after 2000, there have been 11 prime ministers in Japan. And after Mr. Shinzo Abe had to leave in September 2020 because of ill health, there have been 3 prime ministers. The people, and now LDP is in a minority, both in the lower house and upper house. They had a coalition in the lower house with another party, Komeito. It seems that the people of Japan really are looking for a change. But the opposition is divided. There are 3 major parties, the Constitutional Democratic Party, Democratic Party of the People, Japan Innovation Party. And and the economy is in trouble. The public debt in Japan is 250% of GDP. The population is aging.
Yes.
And the rate of growth is very low because there is not much internal demand and consumption. And another worrying factor which came in the July 2025 elections for the upper house was that a fringe rightist party called Sansieto.
Yes.
They got about 14 seats and they are very rightist, anti-immigration, and really it has people who take their information only from the social media. So their views are really detached from reality. And they are seeing immigration as a big problem. In Japan, only 3% of the population is
from outside. Okay. So,
outside.
Yeah. So with Sansiyato's rise and of course the bruising election defeats of Japan's Liberal Democratic Party, where do you think Ishiba or the LDP has gone wrong?
LDP perhaps became too focused on their own personal advancement. They have not been able to throw up a strong leader. And somewhere because of political corruption, financial scandals, the media has been full of that. So some sort of power brokers perhaps sort of captured the Liberal Democratic Party, and it became a little distant from the people and from the aspirations of the people, and was not able to communicate properly that they are fit to govern. And that is a crisis of confidence, I would say. But after 7 decades in power in a democratic society, people do want a change. They expect a change. Whether it is for the better or worse, that only the future will tell, because the alternatives could even be worse than LDP. But perhaps people want a change. But a lot of people feel that LDP may still be able to come on a consensus for another name as a prime minister and broker some kind of a deal with one of the smaller parties so that they continue to govern. Otherwise, there would be perhaps another election. But it is generally felt that LDP may be able to find another leader from within itself or offer the prime ministership to another small party. They had done it earlier in the 1990s, where when they did not have majority, so they offered the prime ministership to another party and continued to rule. So that is also a likely scenario.
Okay.
But the fact is worrying that such a strong fourth largest economy, our strategic partner, Prime Minister was there just a week back, and in the entire turbulent world and turbulent Indo-Pacific, where the whole region needs a strong leadership in Japan, they are facing such internal political disturbance. That sort of weakens the democratic countries' resolve to keep Indo-Pacific tranquil and stable and peaceful. And unfortunately, that is in Korea also we saw there was martial law, and now we have another president. So in England we are seeing a lot of difficulties. Somehow the democratic countries are facing some kind of lack of leadership, I would say, strong leadership, and people are becoming restive. People's aspirations have risen, and because of social media and very pernicious effect of social media, the polarization in democratic societies, open societies, where there is freedom of expression is increasing. So there are a lot of challenges, I would say, to Japan itself as a strong democratic country, a bulwark for peace and stability in Indo-Pacific, a member of Quad, India, US, Japan, and Australia, to keep stronger powers or some other powers which want to disturb the status quo at bay. And Japan has a very big role to play, not only as a fourth largest economy, but in the global governance. In United Nations, they are also aspirants to become a permanent member of the UN Security Council along with us. And so it is, and they are very good friends of India. So we hope, I think all the people in India, government hope that they resolve the issues quickly. And Japan again is strong, both politically and economically. They resolve their problems. The economy is practically stagnant. The rate of growth is very low. Public debt is high, but they are not able to take any strong measures to stabilize the economy because of the public pressure. But Japanese eventually are very disciplined people.
Yes, of course.
They have a very strong work ethic.
Yes.
And I'm confident they will get through it.
Okay.
But there will be some turbulence.
Yes. Ambassador Dayal, let's talk a little bit about the road ahead for the next Prime Minister of Japan. There are views from the market that the next Prime Minister should have economic views that are not too controlling of the monetary policy. So the top two contenders, what do you think of them for the LDP's leadership? The lady Sanae Takaichi and Shinichiro Koizumi.
There is a feeling within LDP that Mr. Ishiba was a little left of the center and perhaps was trying to get too close to China. And if the conservative wing of LDP comes out stronger, then they also have, some people say, a very conservative view about the leadership role for women. So, if the conservative wing of LDP gets its way, then perhaps the other candidate you mentioned,
Shinjiro. Yeah.
Shigeru, he could be the candidate, and it will be a more conservative
Yes.
fiscal policy with less expenditure on public welfare, social welfare, etc.
But if Sanae Takaichi is chosen, probably Japan would get its first woman prime minister.
That will be very good news as far as personally speaking.
And what do you think of the other opposition? Can they provide a challenge to the LDP in terms of their candidates, Sanaito party in particular?
Sanaito party will only be, it will be very difficult for any other party to work with them. And they can only be a spoiler because they are untested and they have very strong views with which no mainstream party really agrees. But from one of these democratic parties, if LDP is able to pull them in, giving them some incentive or some offering some good positions, then perhaps LDP in some form would continue to govern in Japan with a new leader.
Okay, lastly, very quickly, sir, would you feel that this exit was probably a very responsible move made by Shigeru Ishiba, considering that there were reports coming of a split within the party if he doesn't resign?
Yes, because in his watch, both the houses were lost by LDP. Last year elections, the lower house was lost, and now July election, the upper house was lost. And he perhaps was losing the confidence of the major leaders of LDP. And he had perhaps made up his mind to resign, but he said that the trade talks are going on with President Trump and United States. And there were some very important issues that 15% tariff had been told by United States. They had agreed for 15% tariff on Japanese exports, but on Japanese cars, they had not reduced it. And so yesterday this announcement was made that on Japanese cars also the tariff would be only 15%. And earlier it was 27.5%, and there are almost $3 billion or maybe more automobiles go from Japan to United States. So as soon as that was taken and announced, then Mr. Ishiba resigned. So he acted in a very responsible fashion. And as he had said, that once the deal is reached with the United States on tariffs, then he would resign, and he has done so.
Okay. On that note, we wind up our discussion, sir. Thank you very much for being with us and giving us perspective on where Japan is headed next. Let's move on now. More news from India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with MPs of the National Democratic Alliance, attended the Sansad Karyashala, that is Parliamentarians Workshop in New Delhi on Sunday. The ruling party BJP organized a two-day workshop for its MPs to share their views on a diverse range of issues. Prime Minister Modi was seen sitting in the last row and listening intently to the presentations and the program organized. In a social media post, Prime Minister Modi said that MP colleagues from all over India and other senior leaders exchanged valuable perspectives on diverse issues. He also added that platforms like these are important because they are great forums to learn from each other and deliberate on how we can serve the nation even better. India's Union Minister for Communications, Jyotiraditya Scindia, will attend the 28th Universal Postal Congress in Dubai on Monday. During his visit, Scindia will hold a series of bilateral meetings with member countries to strengthen international cooperation and advance India's postal and logistics interests on the global stage. Dubai Congress is a landmark gathering where member states will deliberate on new strategy and business plan of the UN agency Universal Postal Union. It focuses on digital transformation, resilience and modernization of postal services in the global economy. As the escalating climate crisis grips multiple corners of the globe, From submerged towns in India to raging wildfires in southern Europe, extreme weather is no longer a distant threat. It's unfolding in real time with devastating consequences. DD India's Rahul Upadhyay reports.
Floods and wildfires are no longer distant disasters. They are becoming relentless and ferocious across the globe. India is facing a fresh wave of extreme weather. In Punjab, unyielding rains have left towns like Firozpur and Fazilka underwater, prompting urgent relief efforts from the state government. Thousands remain stranded as emergency teams race against time. Meanwhile, Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta flagged off vehicles containing relief materials for flood victims. India Meteorological Department has issued red alerts across several regions. West Rajasthan braces for torrential downpours, while Saurashtra, Kutch and Gujarat face threats of thunderstorms and lightning. From East Rajasthan to Konkan, Goa and central Madhya Pradesh, heavy rainfall continues to lash communities, disrupting lives and livelihoods. The Indian Air Force has launched major humanitarian operations in landslide-hit Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh, delivering aid and evacuating residents from treacherous terrain. In neighbouring Pakistan, the monsoon fury has turned deadly. A rescue boat ferrying flood victims in eastern Punjab province capsized on Sunday, claiming the lives of a 70-year-old woman and 4 children. Over the past week, relentless rains have swollen 3 major rivers that cut through the region. In Japan, heavy rain and strong winds battered Shizuoka Prefecture as Typhoon Peipei brushed past the country. The Japan Meteorological Agency confirmed the storm was moving east of Katsura City in Chiba Prefecture. Meanwhile, in southern Europe, firefighters are once again on the front lines. In central Portugal, the largest blaze erupted in Ceia, where 600 firefighters were deployed to contain flames driven by scorching heat and strong winds. In northwestern Spain, smoke billowed over the small town of Castromil. Authorities placed the town under preventive lockdown as flames crept dangerously close to homes, forcing evacuations and emergency responses. Rahul Upadhyay's report, DD India.
50th edition of Toronto International Film Festival is underway in Canada. DD India's Munmun Bhattacharya spoke with Indian actor Kabir Bedi in Toronto on the Bharat Parv India Festival. This is India's representation at the 50th TIFF and the Create in India Challenge, under which performers from India are being given international exposure. Take a look.
Legendary Indian actor and author Kabir Bedi is here with us in Toronto. Kabir ji, welcome to DD India. You've attended the Bharat Parv. How does it feel? What does it mean for cultural ties between India and Canada?
Means great things, good things. I think Waves is doing wonderful things. I think the Ministry is doing wonderful things. And Indian filmmakers are doing wonderful things. Today we screened the first 2 episodes of Gandhi that was made by Applause. And it was received a standing ovation at the festival. And I think what the Ministry and Waves is doing is really very important. And I salute the fact that they're here in their presence and spreading the message of India.
And we're seeing budding Indian talent, winners of Creative Minds of Tomorrow. They've come here, Create in India Challenge winners. How does it feel to have such budding talent perform here and show their mettle to the world?
Well, you know, the future belongs to the young. So the young people performing on stages like this spreads the message of India better than anything else to the young. And we are there to promote the glory of India, the message of India, the presence of India everywhere in the world. And this is certainly a big part of it. Toronto is one of the most important film festivals in the world. And so to be here among all this wonderful Indian talent showing their films, showing their presence internationally is something very important for me.
50 years of Sholay, 50 years of TIFF, how does it feel?
I was there at the original screening of Sholay at the Minerva Cinema when it first came out. I was also there when Ramesh celebrated the 50th anniversary of Sholay, which we celebrated at the Tata Theatre in Bombay. Ramesh is a dear friend. Sholay is full of memories for me from the time that I saw it. It is one of those iconic films that have stood the test of time and have become symbols of Bollywood in the best way possible. So I feel very privileged to be part of that journey too.
So that was an exclusive conversation with Kabir Bedi ji in Toronto with cameraman YK Loknath. This is Munman Bhattacharya from Toronto for DD India. The 82nd edition of Italy's renowned Venice Film Festival concluded on Saturday, celebrating cinema's finest, from groundbreaking new films to timeless classics. This year's festival honored visionary filmmakers and emerging talent alike, with awards recognizing stories that reflect the world we live in. DD India's Diptanshu Kashyap brings you the highlights from the festival.
American filmmaker Jim Jarmusch won the Golden Lion at the 82nd Venice Film Festival for Father, Mother, Sister, Brother, a comedy drama. Short Summer, a Russian-language film by German director Nastya Korkia, received the Luigi de Laurentiis Award for Best Debut Feature. The winners were selected by a jury led by American filmmaker Alexander Payne, which included Fernando Torres, Stephen Brizet, Mauro Del Toro and Mohammad Rasulov.
Whether we are practicing art or looking at art, in any given time, the winds of culture are blowing through us. And so I can't say that how conscious we will be, but certainly on many unconscious levels, those things affect us. You know, can a film really change society or a culture? I don't know. Doubtful. But at least, though, when we make films which are relevant to the times, we leave a document that someone was thinking about that.
Gianfranco Rossi received the Special Jury Prize for the Italian documentary Below the Clouds. The main competition, also known as Venezia 82, featured 21 films, including Noah Baumbach, J. Kelly, and Catherine Bigelow, A House of Dynamite. Tunisian filmmaker Kauthar Ben Khania won the Grand Jury Prize for the voice of Hind Rajab, a docudrama. Benny Safdie received the Silver Lion for The Smashing Machine, a biopic of Mark Kerr starring Dwayne Johnson. Valerie Donzelli won Best Screenplay for the French film At Work. Swiss actress Luna Wedler won the Marcello Mastroianni Award for the Best Performance by an Emerging Actor or Actress for Silent Friend. Restored classics like Do Bhiga Zameen, 310 to Yuma and Lolita, among others, were screened as part of Venice Classics, with Iran's Bashu, The Little Stranger, winning Best Restored Film. German filmmaker Werner Herzog and American actress Kim Novak were awarded the Golden Lion for Lifetime Achievement, with Herzog honored on opening night by Francis Ford Coppola. Despite ongoing political debates around Ukraine and Gaza, the festival closed with its signature elegance and unwavering commitment to cinematic excellence. Diptanshu Kashyap's report for DD India.
And on to sports news now. India beat South Africa by 4-1 in the final of the Hockey Asia Cup 2025 in Rajgir in Bihar on Sunday. With the win, India has qualified for the next year's FIH World Cup. Dilpreet Singh scored 2 goals, while Sukhjit Singh and Amit Rohidas scored a goal each. The win marks their 4th Asia Cup title and a direct entry into the upcoming World Cup as Asia champions. Dayan Son opened the scoring for Korea the very next minute, but it proved merely to be a consolation goal. This was India's 4th Asia Cup title and the first since 2017. All right, a rare celestial event is set to unfold as a total lunar eclipse will be visible in the Indian night sky. The eclipse is going to be clearly visible in just minutes from now across India, including in cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata and Bengaluru, as well as elsewhere in Asia, Australia, Eastern Africa and parts of Europe. Sunday's blood moon total lunar eclipse will be seen over the sky in Indonesia's Jakarta as well. Sky watchers witnessed this breathtaking celestial event on Sunday night as a total lunar eclipse created a vivid blood moon. The phenomena is caused when Earth's shadow completely covers the moon, giving it a striking red hue visible across much of the region. A spectacular total lunar eclipse casts the moon in a deep red hue during the longest period of totality witnessed in recent years on September 7th, 2025. So Sunday's blood moon, the lunar eclipse begins tonight in India and will end around 2:30 a.m. local time on Monday. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.